Yo, what is going on? And you have stumbled upon the Loggers and Loot podcast. This is Dano, aka CobraConcept, and today we're going to talk about a game very, very special to my heart, Oblivion. What is up, gamers? Welcome in. Hopefully, everybody is up to date on the Bethesda news, but if you are not, don't worry, I've got you covered for today. But starting it out, before we get into that mess, we're going to do our favorite. We're going to check out a new brew. And then after we check out that brew, I'll do a little sniff, a little taste test. And then at the very end of the podcast, I'll tell you exactly what I think about this with a final rating. Sticking with the theme of last week, I had the Abita, the Abita Vanilla Brown Ale. I can't remember what it was exactly. But this time I found another Abita that sounded very, very tasty. Similar to the Purple Haze, I am trying out the Blueberry Wheat. This can is very, very cool. I'm gonna hold it up for the camera so everybody can see it. For those who are tuning in on YouTube, or if you got the video up, it is a nice looking can, very clean design. Very excited to try this, and as a fan of wheat beers, I'm in. But big fan of blueberry, big fan of wheat beers. You know, not a whole lot of information on the side. I know it is a seasonal. Kind of hard to read on the blue and the dark, but let's see. It's brewed by Abita at Abita Springs, Louisiana. So very exciting brew. Little bit of, I'm sorry, it's still hard to read. I want to say it was quite literally a little bit of blueberry, a little bit of citrus in a wheat beer. Your classic. But here we go. We're going to give it the open, the sniff, and the initial taste. And I'll sip on this throughout the rest of the podcast. You know, the smell is very reminiscent of a Purple Haze. Truth be told, obviously not, obviously with blueberry, but I mean very similar smell there. And I haven't had a Purple Haze in about a year, so I'm really telling on myself here. Let's do the initial taste test. Well, all right. All right. Well, I'm excited for the rest of this podcast, and make sure you stay until the very end so that way you know what my final rating is on this. So, if you have not heard by now, there has been rumor after rumor after rumor that Bethesda was going to drop Oblivion, which is the fourth Elder Scrolls, as a remake, as a remaster, as, you know, it's just been coming. It's been coming for, I guess, about a month now. A lot of people have been seeing leaks about it. And as of today, I was sitting there at 11 o'clock today, watching the clock, watching the internet, just hoping and praying I was going to see something because, we kept being told that it was going to shadow drop. And if you don't know what a shadow drop is, the idea of a shadow drop is absolutely zero marketing, zero exposure, zero anything. It's gonna drop as a surprise, and everybody's gonna be surprised that it's there and shocked and excited and tell all of their friends and stream it and so on. It's gonna be like the marketing didn't need to be. You know what I'm saying? There's been several games over the past couple of years that have had some sort of drop without as much marketing. A big name gets a hold of it, and bam, it blows up. So, honestly, maybe that might have been the intention behind this. So, I'm sitting here, I'm watching, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm thinking, please let this happen today. I want to get home. I want to download Oblivion, the remaster, and play it. And so, anyways, I'm sitting here and nothing. Absolutely nothing. At 11 o'clock goes by, and I'm like, oh no, 11:10, 11:20. And at this point, I'm like sweating bullets. I'm like, maybe I read it wrong. Maybe it's 12. Maybe it's noon. Oh, lo and behold, at 11:30, the Elder Scrolls account drops a a picture with a nice little Roman numeral 4 on the front saying tomorrow, 11 Eastern Standard Time, 8 Pacific Time. And it shows Bethesda's Twitch and Elder Scrolls YouTube. And it is 100% confirmed. Oblivion Remastered comes out on April 22nd, 2025. Excited. I am thrilled. I cannot wait. And so I've created this podcast episode to kind of break down some of the news, but also kind of reminisce on some of the old Oblivion and some cool stats that you might find very interesting. So now that you are up to speed, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion has been rumored to be 120 gigabytes. Holy cow. I'm pretty sure Skyrim was like 70, maybe 80 gigabytes. This is a very, very beefy game. There's been a lot of speculation that this is going to, it's going to be off of like the Creation Engine 2, which is kind of like a nod towards Starfield's visuals that Bethesda's put out not too long ago. Let's see, Bethesda came out in, Starfield came out in, was it 23? I think it was 23. It might have been 24. I'm thinking 23. They have rumors that it's gonna have Dark Souls style combat enhancements, so like dodging, stamina use, parries, you name it. They are rumored to have modernized quest tracking, optional mini map toggles, spin wheel redesign, you name it. Dual sense support for the PS5, you know, all of these stuff, all of these rumors swirling around of what this game could be. And so basically what I'm going to say is there's a lot of rumors out here, and there is a thin line of what some people will say good and what some people will say bad. And then there's like me right in the middle who's like, I'm just happy the game's coming out. But here's the discussion. Here's the debate that I'm going to put out there for you all to be thinking about. What do you want this game to be? Do you guys want this game to be a Oblivion story with Skyrim graphics? 2011, 2012 Skyrim. I guess you could say the 16 version when they did the special. Or do you want it to be something completely new? Do you want it to have different different abilities, different, animations and like different fighting style, but kind of follow the story? Do you want it to not follow the story? Do you want it to be something different? Me personally, I'm kind of hoping that they quite literally keep the story of Oblivion, because I thought the story of Oblivion was awesome. And now if they could just build upon it, add to, make it more expansive, probably bring in some quality of life things, so like you don't travel across the map for 20 minutes without seeing an enemy. And then maybe give it a little more gusto, so to say, when it comes to combat. That's personally what I'm kind of hoping for. They say that this is a remake and not a remaster, and I know that is kind of it goes hand in hand. In a sense, it's a little different. It's a little bit of the same, but how much is it really a remaster? Is it really a you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. I don't know if it really is completely a remaster. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's going to bring out some new features. I would like to continue on with a lot of the old, but, just a new experience. I know that there are people out there who want the old experience and the old experience only. And I get that. You like what you like. You really do. But here's the thing. You're going to have to draw in new people. If you want people to enjoy that same game that you loved, you're gonna have to modernize it a little bit. You're gonna have to bring in a crowd that won't typically play it, and then they see something with a more modern take, and they might say, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And who knows? Maybe they'll go back and try it again. So I don't know. I'm back and forth on that. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I hope it's good. I guess we'll know tomorrow. So, well, you know, maybe we'll know tomorrow. Because truth is, we could totally get to this little thing that Bethesda's putting out there. And what if the game doesn't even drop tomorrow? What if the game just comes out and or they come out and they describe the game and they're saying this and that about it, and we'll see you in a month from now. Or, oh yeah, this is in development. We're hoping about 4 months, maybe early November. Oh, I would be devastated. So I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that tomorrow they're just going to shadow drop it. They're just going to put it out there. They're going to make an announcement, and it's just going to be great. It's just going to be fantastic. That's my hope. That's my prayer. Please. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. So tell me what you all think. You guys are welcome to message me. Let me know. I'll definitely bring this back into discussion on the next episode and kind of discuss a little bit more. But I thought we'd go ahead and break down some really cool timelines, some really cool fun facts about Oblivion that you may or may not know. So, looking at the Elder Scrolls timeline, the very first game, Elder Scrolls Arena, was dropped in 1994 on March 25th. It was the first in the series. It was like a randomly generated dungeon feeling game. Definitely, if you are old school, you like the old school games, check it out. If you are somebody who likes pretty modern games, I think you're gonna struggle. Same with Daggerfall, which is the second in the series, the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, which was put out in August 31st of 1996. It was actually a massive world. It had over 15,000 locations in the game. It was also kind of generated as well. Kind of the same, but a little different. You know what I'm saying? Just a 2-year upgrade, so to say. The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is actually when the game started to change quite a bit. We finally started to get more of like a 3D play style. It had some really, really deep lore. It's kind of known as a classic. Has some really, really cool stories. Definitely was the step in the right direction. I don't know if I said the date, May 1st of 2002. And Morrowind, I would beg to say was the direct foothold into Oblivion. I really think after they put out Morrowind, I think they started saying, you know what? I think we got something here, and they started building upon it. They added to the story, and we did Oblivion in March 20th of 2006, and it was a breakthrough RPG, voice acted throughout the entire world, and a lot of first for Oblivion. And unless I'm mistaken, and I could be wrong, so if I am, please fact check me. I believe Oblivion added a DLC for a cosmetic, and I'm pretty sure Oblivion was the first game to add something to their game that you could buy that was purely cosmetic, and it was a horse armor. The horse armor did not strengthen the horse, did not protect it, did not do anything at all. Absolutely nothing. It just made your horse look like it had armor. And there you go. All your Fortnite skins are thanks to Oblivion. No, I'm teasing. Soon after Oblivion in 2006, we get The Elder Scrolls V, which is Skyrim, which is what most people will know. November 11th of 2011 was Skyrim. And then it wasn't until, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure in 2016 they did a special edition with like upgraded graphics. And I want to say in 2021 they did something else, like an add-on to make the graphics better than better. So, if you're wondering how long can Skyrim be in play and in circulation, and people still buy it, the answer is forever. It'll be the year 3000, as the Jonas Brothers predicted, and they'll be selling Skyrim, 100%. Skyrim's iconic. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's wild. It's wild how much modding has been added to Skyrim, and I have some information on that later when we go into the Oblivion Skyrim deep dive. But absolutely wild game. And then rounding it all up, we've got the Elder Scrolls Online, April 4th of 2014. And that was for the PC, and June 9th of 2015 for the console. Basically, it was a big MMO. It started out rocky. A lot of people were a little disgruntled. And to my understanding, I think the Elder Scrolls Online has really just blossomed. I think a lot of people weren't positive about it, and now here we are years and years later, and people can't stop screaming the praises of Elder Scrolls Online. Now, it definitely has a vibe to it. If you don't get behind that vibe, if that's not your playstyle, you may not understand it. You may not play it. You may not enjoy it, similar to the first couple of Elder Scrolls. But, it's worth giving it a shot. Definitely worth giving it a shot. So, if you were curious about Oblivion, it let's see. It had a budget of $12 million, which seems like a lot. Honestly, it really does seem like a lot. And I believe, let me bounce down here. I thought I had it written down. I don't think I have it written down. I thought I had Skyrim's budget on there, but Skyrim obviously leaps and bounds higher budget. The engine, so says Google, was Gamebryo with Havoc Physics and Radiant AI. And it was the first Elder Scrolls game with fully voiced NPCs with over 60,000 lines. 60,000 rehearsed lines are in the game of Oblivion. There are over 1,000 locations. There are 16 square miles of explorable world. And on top of all of those fully voiced NPCs, there were several that were famous voice actors. Sorry. Some of the more notable ones, and I'm not getting all of them, so if you don't hear one of the ones you like or know, that's okay. I just picked a few that I was really kind of blown away by. Sean Bean was actually cast to voice cast as Martin, which I thought was pretty cool. He for those who are interested, Sean Bean is like the second most killed off actor in any movie. I think he's got like, actually, hold on. There's going to be a quick Google search. We're going to find this out. Sean Bean death count. Sean Bean has died 24 separate films and TV shows. So in 24 different shows and TV show and movies, Sean Bean has died. And I don't know if it's because they wanted him off or if he's just such a great dyer. I don't know. But I really, really like Sean Bean. He might be like third now that I think about it. Because I want to say there was somebody who had like 70 deaths in a movie and TV show series. But that's crazy. Sean Bean in Oblivion. Also, the Emperor Septim, Uriel Septim, is none other than Patrick Stewart, the man, the myth, Professor X himself. I'm so impressed by that. I think that is so cool. I love Patrick Stewart. Love seeing him in movies. I think that is phenomenal. And then another one that I found really cool, Linda Carter, and she was actually the original Wonder Woman. She voiced several female Nords in Oblivion. So those were my three like claim to fame. I love these actors and actresses, and I had to talk about that. So if you got time, dive in there. There's quite a number of names in there. Definitely a lot of people that you'd be surprised to see were in Oblivion. So and moving forward, I'm gonna go into some of these fun facts. The NPCs in Oblivion had full daily routines. They coded them to do it all. You know what I'm saying? They woke up, they did the routine. They went to bed, they woke up, they did it again. I know that's not unheard of, especially in today's world. I mean, our NPCs can do it all, really. But in 2006, that was cool. That was awesome. You could become a grand champion of the arena in under 2 hours, which is sweet. The game featured a fully functioning calendar and a holiday system. You could read over 300 in game books. Oblivion had over 200 spells, and spellcrafting returned from Morrowind. So it started in Morrowind, and it returned back into Oblivion. Uh, this is really cool. Speedrunners have beaten the game of Oblivion in under 10 minutes. And now I know the game is scaled to your level. I get that. And you could quite literally go and play the boss at your lowest level. But 10 minutes, under 10 minutes is insane. This is a huge game. And people I swear people can break any game, beat it so quick. It's like the Super Mario 64 runs. Those are wild. I don't know how people do that. And also, my last fun fact is some of the NPCs were voiced by the same voice actor, and they had to argue with themselves. I think that is so funny. That is just the funniest thing. It kind of makes me think of the guy who played all of the clones in Star Wars, literally just having conversations with himself. I mean, I can imagine Rex and Cody just sitting there talking to one another, and he's reading off both lines. So cool, so cool. If you were unfamiliar with some of the DLCs with Oblivion, there, let's see, there were was it eight? There were eight, but two of them. Hold on. Two expansions and nine small DLCs. So some of those, like the expansion that I'm thinking of, was the Knights of the Nine, which is a holy crusade against Umaril the Unfeathered, and you collect relics and rebuild the Lost Order of the Knights. And if you're not familiar, that's where the catchphrase "by the nine" comes from. So if you've heard that among the Bethesda nerds that you call your friends, "by the nine," boom, there you go. The Shivering Isles was literally known as the best Elder Scrolls DLC ever. So says some people. I have to admit, the Shivering Isles is pretty good. It is pretty good, and it is definitely one or two for me. You enter the mind of Shidarath, the Prince of Madness, explore mania and dementia, take on monstrous creations, and some of the most imaginative quests in the Elder Scrolls history. There was also additions in the DLCs as Mehrunes Razor, the Thieves' Den, the Wizard's Tower, the Vile Lair, the Spell Tomes, and the famous Horse Armor Pack. All of these were 2006, except for the Shivering Isles. It was in 2007. I believe. I think the Shivering Isles was almost like, I don't want to tell you something wrong, but it was a huge, huge addition. A little more fun facts about the Oblivion game. It was Game of the Year in 2006. It was Golden Joystick, Spike TV, GameSpy. It won the Best RPG, IGN, GameSpot, Best Art Direction, and Best Technology. Has a Metacritic score of 94 out of 100, and they sold 3.5 million units by the end of 2007. The modding community apparently exploded, like Quarrel's Texture Pack, Ostro's Overhaul, and Natural Environments. Definitely some really cool additions with the modding community. Shout out to the modding community because you guys are crazy good. And so, in comparison to Skyrim, the release date, 2006 to 2011. So, Oblivion 2006, Skyrim 2011. Oblivion sold about 4 million retail, whereas Skyrim has sold over 60 million as of 2023. Both of them received a Metacritic score of 94. The Guild Quest, and it kind of gives a little, it says the Guild Quest is iconic, branching, a little weird. Skyrim's was more streamlined and cinematic. The combat was a little floaty but reactive. And then the combat for Skyrim was a little more cinematic and modifiable, which is, very true. Oblivion kind of set a foundation for the modding community, whereas Skyrim is quite literally the most modded game ever, which, we live in a world of Minecraft, and the wild thing is that Skyrim is more modded than Minecraft. Kind of just blows my mind. Because when you think of a modded game, Minecraft is usually on that list. Usually one of the first. However, I do think of Skyrim as the most modded. So, I don't know. Okay. So whereas Skyrim might have brought the series to a more mainstream, Oblivion is still a favorite due to its charm, due to its quests, due to its guild variety, due to its voice variety. Oblivion had about 14 voice actors, whereas Skyrim had 70 plus. Not as many notably named people as Oblivion did. So yeah, that's kind of the idea of this episode of this podcast. I wanted to just kind of sit down and discuss Oblivion versus Skyrim and see if you were as excited as I was. I will say this: I'm nervous about tomorrow. I hope it goes well. I hope that they release the game, and I hope it's not a lot of information of when we can expect something. You know what I'm saying? But I guess we'll see. I had some funny moments when I was discussing with a friend earlier today. We were talking about how what if this is a cover up? What if we show up and they were like, "Oh yeah, you were expecting the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake." Psych. Here is the Elder Scrolls 6, and just dropped it, just out of everybody's surprise. Wouldn't that be crazy? I doubt that. I highly doubt that. That's not even gonna be a reality check. That's not happening, but it would be really cool. Yes. Oh. And so then we were saying, how cool would it be to do, if it was the reverse, like what if we show up and they were like, oh yeah, here's Oblivion. Yeah, sure. You guys might have been expecting some news on Elder Scrolls 6, but no, we've got Oblivion. And you know how we've been working on Elder Scrolls 6 for the past, well, let's see, 6, 7 years when that announcement came out? Yeah, well, that was a ruse. We just remade Oblivion. I don't know which one would be worse. I genuinely hope that the Oblivion remaster actually drops tomorrow. And I really hope that we maybe get a little inkling of news that the Elder Scrolls 6 might be on its way sometime soon. But it's wild because now it has taken longer. Let's see. When the announcement came out, it has now taken longer for them to release the game than the announcement was from Skyrim's release. So that stinks. As an Elder Scrolls fan, that hurts bad. But anyways, enough of my rant. Thank you for tuning in and listening to all of that. I'm excited. I guess you could probably tell by now, and I hope you give Oblivion a shot. Before we get too much further, I want to tell you about this blueberry. This blueberry wheat was pretty good. I like the taste. I'm gonna give it another swish real quick. I like the taste. I like the vibe of this. This is definitely a start of the summer beer. Man, I'm telling you, if it was really hot weather, I could not drink a lot of this. But those nice, cool spring days, I could really get behind this. This is definitely a spring vibe thing. Um, Very smooth, not so weedy, not so weedy. If I'm in comparison to like a Blue Moon, um, a Blue Moon has more of a wheat taste than this. This has a little more of a watery wheat taste and a very strong blueberry feel too. It's not bad. It's not like I would definitely drink this. I would recommend it. I would give this to somebody. I'd let them try it for sure. Now, would I rate it as a top beer? Definitely not. I'm going to give this like a 7.3. I believe last time I had an 8.1. So I'll do like a 7.3 on this one. Anything below a 5, I really wouldn't give it the time of day. If it's anywhere between a, 6 to 7, I would drink it. If it's an 8, 9, I would definitely recommend it, and you need to try it. If it's a 10, you better go get it today. So, again, blueberry wheat and Oblivion. Hopefully, I'm doing that tomorrow, and I guess we'll see. So, if you guys are not following the podcast, please be sure to do so. Thank you again for tuning in to the Loggers and Loot podcast. You guys are incredible. I am on Spotify, I am on YouTube, and I hope to be on Apple and Google here shortly. Having a little weird issue trying to connect all of that, but they'll be up there soon. So, thank you all. We'll see you next time, and keep drinking. Keep that brew on.